Welcome to makeitbigtraining.com. I'm Rich Sayer.
And I'm Stu Hayes.
And today we're going to be talking about how to nail the job interview. Stu, you have interviewed... Thank you. Stu, in your career, you've interviewed hundreds, if not thousands of people. Is that right?
I've interviewed hundreds of people. Mm-hmm. I've sacked thousands of people.
Nice. Go on. Tell us then, what are some of the things you're looking for when someone's coming in for a job interview, or how do you go about assessing someone in a job interview? Give our viewers some of the tips.
Okay, thanks, Rich. Look, in no order, things that come to mind for me are that the person has a presence. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they walk in the door, that they've got some substance and strength about them. And this doesn't matter whether the role is a very junior role or a very senior role. I want to see they've got some confidence and a bit of a spring in their step.
Okay. And how do you go about measuring that, or what is it that if you're giving advice to someone, how do they show that confidence? You know, is it in the way they act, the way they walk, the way they talk, or is it all of those things?
Well, I think very simply, it's being able to look at someone in the eye and smile,
okay, and
be confident and stand there and not seek to have to rush things on or to look around or be nervous. Just be relaxed. And smile and hold the gaze.
Okay. What else? I know these days if you're going for a job, there's a wealth of information out there about not only the company or the role, but even the person that may be doing the interviewing. And with digital information and the internet, you know, is the onus therefore on the person coming into the interview to do their homework so they really know what they're getting in for?
Look, that's absolutely the case. And I think that if you don't do it, you're actually starting to become in the minority. My expectation is that, particularly at senior roles, the people coming to me for an interview have researched the business, and they've probably researched me. They've learned about me, they've dug around on LinkedIn, and they've found things that are of interest, and they'll bring those up. Not in a way that's trying to brown nose, but in a way that's adding value. Okay, so in the topic of, or with a company, I'd think that they should be looking at the industry. They should be looking at if there's much on the business on the internet. If it's a larger company, you'll see that there's stock exchange reports, things like this. But for smaller businesses, get into the industry, have a think around, ask people you know who are in the industry what they know about it, and these types of things, so you can start to see you can start to demonstrate not only your understanding of the industry, but you can start to show me why you can add value to me in it.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, look, in my own experience of going for job interviews, which is fairly limited because I became self-employed at such a young age, but at the time when I was going for interviews, I tended to have an idea, somewhat inflated, of myself and my capabilities. But I was very quick to identify the limitations of the role, and to make a judgment call of, am I going to be happy in this role? And if I wasn't going for it. But if I was happy in that role, to actually put those limitations on the table and say, look, I understand that I'm not going to be the CEO in 5 minutes, or I'm not going to be earning hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm going to be earning, how much am I going to be earning? But actually putting the limitations down, and my understanding of them, I found built rapport with the person interviewing me. Has that been your experience from the other side of the desk?
Look, I think it can be dangerous, but it depends on the context. For example, the very first job that I ever went for, a university student, and all the large advisory firms came to my university to conduct graduate interviews, and I applied for a bunch of different organisations, and I got interviews with one.
How many?
One. Which happened to be the number one company in the world, and the one that I was looking for at the time, which was KPMG. Now, what happened was the recruitment lady, Pat, came into the room, and we had a great conversation, and she started to talk about audit and tax and things like that. And I said, look, Pat, I don't mean to be rude, but audit and taxation are not areas of any interest to me. I'm only interested in working for KPMG if I'm in this very specific area. And if that's not possible, I understand, but I wouldn't like to be considered for anything else. And not surprisingly, or surprisingly, perhaps, depending on your perspective, I got a telephone call saying, we were really impressed, we'd love you to come in and meet some partners, and I ended up working there.
Fantastic. How long did you work there for?
I worked there for 5 years, which was half of my full-time working life at that time.
Right.
Yep.
And any other hints then for people, prospective people going for an interview? Any other tips?
Absolutely. I think that it's important to become present. And we've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
Become present so you can connect. It's so important to be authentic. And don't sugarcoat things. Tell them as they are. Yeah, okay, you need to be enthusiastic. But by being authentic, haven't you ever found that you can sense if someone's exaggerating, if they're not really themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Be authentic. It's obvious anyway. But when you are authentic, you're actually putting yourself in a bracket of people that's quite select, because people aren't often comfortable enough with themselves to be themselves.
I think a lot of people want to be something to get the job, and then they become someone else when they've got the job. Or that has been an experience for me as an employer of people, that they're inflating their own skills or talents, certainly on their resume and certainly at the interview, and then in reality they might not be actually as skilled at some of the things they say they are. Is it important for the person going for the job to clarify questions? So if they're not quite sure of something, or they're not quite sure of the skills that are required, to just come out and ask?
Without any question at all, it's critical. And in fact, the people that are confident enough to ask a question when they're being interviewed, to say, "Oh, look, I'm just to clarify, are you asking this or that, or something like that?" Then I see a person who is confident and able to communicate. Now, what I know from business is that business is all about communication and interaction with people. So if someone has the confidence to behave like that in an interview, they're doing the best favour they can for themselves in terms of becoming a prospective or becoming an employee.
Fantastic. We're very, very interested to hear if you've got a secret or a tip for going to an interview, or you've had a fantastic outcome. Stu, is there anything else that you'd like to add to the interview conversation?
Look, there is something that's just come to mind, to be honest. Thinking about KPMG, there was an outstanding approach that was very simple, that I'd like everyone who's watching this video to think about, because I learned it at KPMG and I've applied it as an employer all through my career as a CEO. And it is simply this: when you're being looked at as a candidate for a job, the employer is looking at you and making only 3 decisions. Number 1, can this person do the job? And they're making an assessment of your capability, your skills, your technical expertise, things like that.
Got it.
The second thing they're asking themselves is, will this person do the job?
Attitude?
Correct. Attitude, motivation, things like this.
Right.
And the third thing they're asking is, will they fit in? Will this person fit into the culture, into the team that we have here, or not? So
That
keep
is
those
very
things in
powerful.
mind.
Yeah, that's a very powerful 3 things. Say them one more time.
Can they do the job? Will they do the job? Will they fit in?
Fantastic. That's a great tip. We would love to hear your tips. We love the fact that you've stayed with us to the end of this conversation here. Please do join us again. Leave your comments and do hit the subscribe button. Tell us any topics you'd like us to cover. Most importantly, get out there and make it big in life, career and business. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.